Hello world, this is your boy Kamani and Ku. Did you know that black and brown people across the world is reconnecting to the roots, redefining their relationships to the land with gardening and farming, and Black Gardener Talk is dedicated to sharing those voices to inspire all people of color, and maybe even some that don't look like us, to grow by any means necessary. But sometimes we just need our own safe space to talk. Good morning, I'm Kamani and Ku, and this is Black Gardening Talk. And my guest today will be Andre, aka the Seaside Gardener. So let's get him in the room so we can get this thing popping. Thank you for joining. Let's see where he is. Andre. Let's see where he is. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. Andre, where you at? Oh, there you go. Good morning, everyone. This is Kamani and Ku.
Did I get you there? Oh, I think there we go.
Okay.
Kamani, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Not too bad. Let me move that camera up just a little bit.
Okay, yeah, we can't see you. Howdy, folks. Howdy, folks. Thank you for coming and checking us out today. This is Black Gardener Talk, aka Grow by Any Means
There we
Necessary.
go.
Today we got Andre, the Seaside Gardener. He looks like he's in his garage or somewhere.
I'm out here by the compost. This is where it
Okay,
happens. I've
what's
got
up? Happy
I'm
Saturday, everyone. Thank you for joining me. I got a guest today. Yeah, I'm excited. Let's get right into it. Let me get my questions pulled up so we can get right into it. Um, I hate to wait for people. I hate to wait. I hate to keep people holding on. But what was your first memories of gardening?
my first memories of garden. I would have to, and I've watched your interviews, so I know you get this answer a lot. But my grandmother was the inspiration for my garden. So my first memories of gardening would be seeing her hands pulling something out of the garden, and that feeling of those very loving hands, passing something to me is burnt into my memory forever. It's that those aged, very wise hands, handing me that mint, handing me that pepper, handing me that, tomato, and then going inside and seeing those same hands prepare a meal, and then those same hands feed me, and then those same hands tell me at night, they love me and hug me and hold me. That's a very textile memory in my brain, Kamani.
That's what's up. So when did you start your own garden?
So I've had a couple iterations of starting my own garden. I initially started a garden about 10 years ago. I gave gardening a try. I was renting. So I live in New York, and you've heard this story from every New Yorker. Space is tight and expensive. So about 10 years ago, I was living in the suburbs of New York, in Uniondale, Long Island. I was going to college, and that space came with an outdoor space that my roommates pretty much ignored and wanted nothing to do with. And it let me get out there for the first time on my own and experience some freehand gardening. I'm not saying it was any good. I'm just saying I got out there. I got to give it a try for the first time on my own.
That's what's up. Real quick, I forgot to ask you, which zone are you in? And you said you was in New York,
Uh,
right? And what zone is
yeah,
that?
so seven or 7A, depending on who you talk to. But I consider myself a zone 7A gardener.
Okay, folks, if you're 7A, listen up. It got some. He's gonna answer some questions around it because I got the questions. All right.
Oh boy. Here we go.
So you said grandma helped you get to gardening, so to speak, and then you started your own gardening. How did it
Yes.
go from just getting out there and being successful? What tools or what knowledge you had to gain to become successful
So
at this point?
I think I am. So tomorrow is my birthday. I'm going to be 37 years old. And
Happy
I feel
birthday.
like, thank you. Thank you. I feel like coming into my 30s, at 31, I had my daughter, my first child. Um, I had a change in my diaspora, right? The friends of yesterday weren't so much fitting with a kid and a family and a house and so forth. And I had to go through this period of finding myself again. And in finding myself again, I didn't realize that, when my grandmother taught me how to garden, she also taught me how to cope with stress and anxiety that comes with bills and work and all of that. When you step out into a garden, for me, it's more than just I'm out here to get something from the garden and I plant it or check up on something. There's that passion behind it. And I see that passion in you. I hear that passion when you talk about gardening, when you talk about music. It's that passion, that feeling right there. I see when you're smiling, it's the same smile I'm smiling. I come out here and that engagement, that free therapy, pulled me into the garden, and it helped me cope with the changes in my life. I was suddenly gardening to reduce stress. I was gardening for mental sanity. I was gardening to deal with COVID later. Gardening became a health provider. My garden is my first doctor. So that's how I ended up there.
That's what's up. I mean, we have, I guess I would say, the same story. I mean, I got into gardening for therapy as well, and I've been growing now for almost 12 years, but it definitely changed my life.
Beautiful.
And that's why I'm doing this gardening beats now. I mean, the gardening beats came to me just magically at night, one night. And
That's it.
I wanted to make sure that I had music and I had gardening and combine them all and put them on one platform instead of just having music on one side and gardening
Garden on the
on one
other.
side.
Okay.
I just want to kind of force it down to the people to connect with what I'm doing. So I definitely believe in gardening as therapy. And you're doing a great job. And plus, it's free. It's free
It,
medicine. It's free therapy,
free.
right?
It's free. The soil is free. You just, you go for it. And, before you even hit the next question, Kamani, I have to tell you that your mission on bringing in the music and the gardening and, people, the way you bring people together, the new soul, celebrations where everyone, the smiles are so contagious, man. I got to tell you, I think the first time I hit your page, we were still in the swirls of COVID and everything, and you were interviewing, I want to say it was a rapper. He was sitting on his front porch, and I remember being able to just take a moment away from everything else that was happening, not knowing if there was a line at the supermarket, not knowing if I'd be arguing over toilet paper, I sat and I watched that interview and I hit the follow button and I said, this is a safe place. This is a place of peace. I am going to enjoy being here whenever I can. And I wanted to say thank you because I come to you for that. You have now joined the therapy outcry. I have the garden and I get to come to your page. So thank you for that. It's a wonderful thing you're doing.
And I appreciate that, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart with that. This is something that how can I say it? I never wanted to do. I never wanted to be in front of the camera. But when I started this business, my good friend, who's now my manager, said, "You got to be in front of the camera. The best way to sell your
Okay.
brand is to be in front of the camera." And so I
Okay.
always worked behind the cameras. I've always been in television production, music production. Behind the scenes, my degrees are in television, radio, and I have a master's degree in journalism. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and jump out there
I'm going to do
on
it.
faith and get in front of the camera and go for it. And the first couple times I was nervous, and now I'm kind of like at ease a little bit. I'm still nervous. I'm a little nervous today,
You can't
but
tell. You can't
that's to be
tell.
expected, right?
Yeah, look at you. You make nervous look natural. So you're doing great.
Yeah. Everybody, his birthday is tomorrow, so it's brunch time here, so I got champagne. So I want to toast to his happy birthday tomorrow.
Cheers. Cheers and cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you for
As
the
I
happy
didn't know that,
birthday
so I just
wishes.
always have a little bit of champagne um, to keep my nerves down.
Ready, at the ready. Good stuff. Good stuff.
So what advice, because at one point you were a new gardener and now you're kind of like an avid gardener. What advice would you give a new gardener that might be listening and watching today?
I would say start small and remember that failure is a part of the process. You know, I am a huge composter. I'm an advocate for composting, reducing waste. It's become a bit of a life passion for me. As you know, I find myself going out talking about compost, building the 3-bay system in my own backyard, bringing the neighbors in, showing them what compost can do, even having the things for the kids in the summertime who mostly just want to run around in a green space. But then I also, you know, hey guys, look, this is a compost building. I would say for a new gardener, one, there is something in gardening for everyone. Maybe you just want a plant inside, you take care of that plant, you develop that nourishment relationship. Two, failure happens, okay? When a plant dies, it doesn't mean you've done anything wrong. It's just another part of the cycle. My plants die all the time. They come into this compost, they sit here, they get hot, they feed bacteria and microorganisms, they get worms, they get everything gets going in here. And then that soil, that dead plant becomes my new soil enhancement that goes into the next plant. And now the next plant lives stronger and better. So I definitely want you to know that, you know, plants die and don't get turned off by that. Don't run away. The last thing I would say is gardening is cheap. Don't go out and spend all of your money on super expensive gardening kits and I see soil enhancements and all of this stuff for sometimes hundreds of dollars. Gardening, if you see a gardener, right, you walk past someone who you know gardens, stop and talk to them. Tell them that you're going to start gardening. I guarantee you, because it happens to me, every gardener I know, we're more than willing to share something to get someone else started, right? If we can get that, I don't want to keep ranting and raving, but you know, we start talking about food inequality, and if we could share gardening spaces and teach others to garden, how that could really help the BIPOC community on some of the phobia of gardening, some of the phobia of vegetables and stuff like that. But yes, I don't want to keep answering, but yes,
No, that's
that's my
good. I
advice to
think
the new gardener.
you hit it on the nose for new gardeners. Hopefully some new gardeners have checked in and to
Yeah.
in this morning. I know we had some avid gardeners here, and hopefully they'll be on the show soon. But I just
Hello,
wanted to
garden
talk about
fam.
just gardening. You know what I'm saying? I want this platform right here, this particular Black Gardener Talk, to be an inspiration for all people. And as I say in my opening, some that might not even look like us to even grow by any means necessary. So that's the whole goal.
Absolutely.
I mean, there is a food shortage out there, so to speak, or supply and demand shortage. And it's going to get crazier as the months go along. So we need to start learning how to grow our own food so we can survive, right?
That's it. That's it. It's we have to learn to feed our communities, and we have to share the knowledge with our communities. You know, I am in Freeport, Long Island. It's a town on the South Shore of Long Island, and it amazes me how I see so many of these homes have property, you know, just wrapping around them, and there's no gardening space. And you look back historically, a garden was required for a household. You know, that is where things were coming from. It wasn't this option of, you know, maybe I'll have a garden or not. You needed a garden to maintain and feed a family. And suddenly it's disappeared. I'm hoping it comes back, right? COVID made the home office popular again. I'm hoping that conversations like this can bring the home garden back, make that popular again.
I think it will. I mean, that's why I started gardening beets, and like I said, I've been growing for a while. but I started gardening beets as a business during COVID because so many friends of mine were like, "Oh, I need to do something. I want a garden. Can I do a garden? I see you growing your own food. It's COVID. It's COVID." And a friend of mine said, like, I'll pay you. I'll pay you $1,500 to come out and help me and my family grow food and build
Wow.
some garden boxes. And I was like, well,
Yeah.
I'll do it for free because I love gardening. Like, no, I'm gonna pay you $1,500 to come out and help
Okay.
me garden. And so from there, I was like, well, if I'm getting $1,500, I might as well keep on charging these folks. But I didn't charge them like
Absolutely. A
big time. I
business is
just
born.
said, oh, I'll do $40 here, $50 here. And then I was like, well, it's time to do a business. And so I put
There you
together the
go.
business. And so that's
There you
what I'm
go.
on. And it's growing by every day, leaps and bounds. So I'm really excited about that. And this is just part of that platform to keep getting people inspired.
Congratulations. That's an amazing feeling. That's a great thing, man. That
Yes.
is a great thing. I love the thought of that and going through in the development. And I love how open you are to growing and what happens with it. And that's good. It's keep doing what you're doing, man. Keep doing it.
Oh, thank you, April. April is a newbie and a peep, and she said this is inspiring and sharing valuable tips. That's what we're trying to do. That's what I'm trying to do. And it's going to even get even greater and better come January because I'm in my basement now. It's going to be a full YouTube studio. I'm just turning my whole basement into a studio
Oh, okay.
with a
All
couple
right.
sets. Yeah,
Oh
so I'm really
boy.
excited about that.
Good. Good
Speaking of the
stuff.
Seaside Gardener, where did that name come from, and why did you decide to call yourself or on your platform the Seaside
The
Gardener?
Seaside Gardener name. That's a why did I go with Seaside Garden? Well, I am not far from the water. The island of Long Island off of New York sticks out into the water, and the water is yonder way behind me. Um, I'm about a 5 minute drive from our large beaches. Um, I can stroll down to the inlets that come in. And I guess, you know what? I believe originally when I started gardening in this space, so I've been in this space now for 7 years. When I bought this home, the the sandy soil was something that I thought was going to be problematic. It's turned out to be the greatest gift I could have ever received, as it drains really well. I rarely have issues with oversaturation or root rot. Or the sandy soil of Long Island came to help. I knew they had historically grown like potatoes out here, and I thought, well, if they could do it, I could do it. And I'm talking about, years and years and years ago. My neighbor across the street told me my own home was a potato farm. He goes, there was no house here. It was just potato farm run across the
Wow.
space. Um, and his house was probably built about 80 or 90 years ago. So that's crazy to think that how much things have changed in the last couple of decades. But it was the sandy soil that got me gardening, and I was inspired by the sand.
You might have froze. I'll wait till you reconnect if you need to jump out and reconnect. That
Oh,
would be
can you not
good.
hear me?
You kind of froze up a little bit.
Okay, hold on. Let me refresh the top there. I'm sorry about that.
That's all right. Folks, this is Black Gardener Talk. Basically, this is a safe space for gardeners to talk and to inspire people to grow their own food. I'm Kamani and Cool. My guest today is Andre, the Seaside Gardener. His birthday is tomorrow, so you want to put some birthday shout outs in the room, you can. He's gonna log back in shortly. But I got a very special event that I got coming up on November 29th. um, I'll be reading and discussing this book called The Coming Famine, and the author, Julian Craig, will be on with me. And we're going to be on Zoom. If you're interested, you can DM me. I can send you the link to the book and then to the link to the Zoom. It's going to be also on YouTube and Facebook. Let me get Andre back in. Thank you for bearing with us while we go through some technical difficulties. Sometimes that happens. It's the internet, right?
Reconnected?
Yes, you're connected.
Oh, okay. All right. In the moment there, I saw that. Let's see. There are some accounts on here that I love and adore. It's good to see you guys.
Yeah, shout them
Uh,
out. Shout your people out.
yeah, they're rolling through here. Uh, Matsuki transplanting. All great accounts. All great accounts. I can't see the whole list because the screen's minimized, but you know, I got to tell you. So I refer to a lot of the people in the gardening community as garden fam, and that came out of just repeating over and over again to people, you've become like family. This is like a family. The gardening community is like a family. The way people are supportive and constructive and helpful, and they volunteer things. There's free advice. It was like, family, family, family. And then finally, I just started calling them garden fam. And that's what I see, stopping by and saying hello, hello, garden fam. It is great to see you as always.
And I think that's what drew me to your page and you. One was the whole thought of the Seaside Garden. I was like, what is that all about? But then when you come on, I mean, it's fluent now. It's like that's your tagline now. Hello, fam, garden fam. You
Oh.
know, you need to make a T-shirt, start selling that, because that's your thing.
Maybe.
You know what
All
I'm
right.
saying?
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah. And I think as you continue to grow and however far you want to take it, I believe then you can start branding off stuff and as you should. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, you're going to have to be my business whiz guy that gives me some pointers on that because this is passion, but you're right. Perhaps it should be passion and business.
Yes. And I mean, who doesn't love their passion and wants to turn it into a business, right?
That's right.
I mean, I
That's right.
work in the educational field now. I was in television prior to getting into education, but it's funny.
Mhm.
So I got into education by doing television work. I actually started teaching communications,
Gotcha.
television,
Gotcha.
film, and then I end up getting into school system, and now I'm in leadership. So I'm really excited about that.
There you go.
But at the school I work at, we have a huge garden, and I'm partake in that garden and teaching those kids gardening. We do a full curriculum around gardening with our kids. We have kids from 3 years old all the way up to about 14 years old, and they split between
Oh.
3 schools. And so we have a huge garden where they go out and gardening, and then they also sell and do like a little farmers market in front of the school,
Oh,
and
that
then they
is
take that
fantastic.
money. I mean, so they learn in financial literacy as well as part of that, and then they take that money and put it back into the garden. And when it was COVID was really hectic, we were giving all the food for free to the community and the kids and the parents that go to that school. So that's kind of like how I kind of like starting to merge the two.
Oh, I
And
love
then
it. I
eventually
love
I
it.
wanted to just be my primary source of income.
Okay. All right.
So, are you doing any gardening for the winter, fall?
Okay, fall gardening. So I do have some fall gardening going on. I have, let's see, on the other side of the house, I have a hoop set up with a covered row that has salad greens in it. Um, I have failed miserably at growing spinach over and over again, but I'm giving it another try. Here we go. Spinach, it's cooler weather. They say it likes the cool weather. So I have spinach over there. What else do I have in the hoop set? Is going to be um, collard. I have collard greens that I completely. You were talking to someone the other day about volunteer plants, or maybe you were saying you had volunteer plants, but someone was talking about how tomatoes always pop up in their garden. For me, collard greens, without a doubt. I don't have to do anything. It gets cold, the collard greens come up. I always just let them grow. It's a nice, easy plant, low care. And in this cold weather, you don't have to worry about the white fly and all that. It does so well and it grows so healthy up here in the cooler weather. So, with our nights getting down into the 40s and stuff, I'm seeing most of the other things die off and I'm seeing the collards prosper. They're loving it. So that's what's going on for me in the fall garden.
Yeah, they said the best time to grow collard greens or kill is in the wintertime. And
Yeah.
when that snow hits it, or that first frost, it's supposed to give them a
Sweeten
more
it up.
sweeter taste.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what's up. With the spinach, they like the cooler weather too, but they don't like a lot of sun on it. So if you got the spinach somewhere where it's really
Uh-huh.
sunny, they're
Okay.
not gonna appreciate that sun
Maybe
too much.
that's what I've been doing wrong. All right. Okay. Because, oh, spinach. And I love spinach. I love spinach. And it's just, it haunts me how much I failed at spinach.
Question is, the next question is, how
Mhm.
has gardening changed you since you first started?
How has gardening changed me? Patience, right? Gardening is patience. It teaches you patience, and that in growing and in taking time, you you learn that perhaps the speed of life is not quite what you wanted it to be. Um, you can do a lot of things, but a plant needs time to grow, and there is this consistency with growing things where you check on it daily, and it kind of just teaches you this patience that you didn't know you had. Val, what's the matter? My daughter just wandered out of the house. She's roaming around the garden in pajamas. What's up? Come here. You gonna say hi to? Come here. Come here. You gotta say hi. Daddy's on live, right? Look, 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 look. Say hi. Say hi. Out here in the garden. This is my favorite garden helper, by the way. You talk about helping little hands learn to garden. Um, she is my onion plopper, my garlic diver, my garden buddy, and I absolutely love having her in the garden. But okay, inside, you're not dressed that warm, and it's cold out here. You got slippers on. Go 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 go.
That's
Turn
what's up.
around outside.
I love that. I love teaching the young people to get out there and
Yeah,
get in that garden.
passing it
She's gonna
on.
be a future gardener too, I'm sure.
That's
She's
fingers
gonna be
crossed. I hope
Seaside Gardener number two.
so. Better. She's gonna be better than me, right? She's gonna be better than me.
Yeah. Where do you spend most of your time in the garden?
So this time of year, as the fall garden kicks off, and my fall garden is much smaller than everything I'm trying to do in the summertime. I spend most of my time in compost. I don't know if you can see the pile next to me. I have a 2 yard bay behind me that I flipped out yesterday. It dropped down to about 100 degrees. So it's finished that first arch, right? I got up to probably 140 when it was all in the bay, and then it's come all the way back down after a month to 100 degrees. I end up working a lot with compost this time of year because I have all of the leaves falling. I have a lot of brown material coming down. I've got the grass I'm cutting. I have the greens that I save in the center bay. I have all of the pieces to start building and making that compost pile. So it's it's very cyclical. I go through the whole year. You're cutting, you're pruning, you're growing, you're loving, and then everything starts to die coming the end of the year. And now we go into that regenerative aspect of gardening, right? Getting the compost ready, flipping the pile so that now when I come in, I can top dress those beds in the springtime. And then in the summertime, I kick off gardening in the beds that we made with the compost of the fall garden from the year before. So it all rolls in that cycle.
So what is your compost bin made of? Tell the people because right now I have like the bins that I bought. I actually bought those from one of those discounted grocery stores. I'll
Oh,
say
okay.
Aldi's.
All right.
But yeah, Aldi's had a couple that I got for like $30. They've been in my backyard now for 5 years, so they were pretty good.
Yeah.
Um, but tell us the people how you built your compost bin in case they
So
want to build a compost bin.
I have a very basic 3 bay compost system here in the backyard. Um, Everything here is reclaimed or garbage picked wood. I have not purchased a single piece of wood for any of this as I found it, to defeat the purpose, right? I'm trying here to naturally rebuild off of what we've got. So you see the shipping pallets that I've picked up. Um, these pallets come from supermarkets, from 99-cent stores, from wherever I can find. a non-treated pallet that has no chemical spray on it, that's a pallet that I would pick up and save. And it's 8. So it took 8 pallets, and those pallets were fastened together kind of to form the letter E, if you could think of it that way, with a pallet on the outside, a pallet on the other side, a pallet in the middle, and then they're connected by screws in the back. And the only reason why a system like this is important is for the amount that I'm composting. You want to try to get some depth in your compost. It insulates the inner core of the compost, and it allows for that temperature buildup to happen. If the pile is too small, well, then the exterior temperatures aren't going to allow you to get up to that higher heat that you're looking for. Back on the tomatoes growing everywhere, tomatoes need about 130 degrees in compost to kill tomato seeds. So if you're composting, but you're not hot composting, which is fine, there's many forms of composting, something like tomato seeds can be a prevalent problem. I tell people, if you're just an at-home composter, I know we love the tomatoes, maybe not in your compost. If you've got a municipal composting option or a food scrap drop-off option, that's probably the better place for your tomatoes. Or some folks would say freeze them to kill the seeds, but I found that even that cannot be successful, and you'll have tomatoes growing everywhere.
I guess that's the mistake I've been making. Because I
Don't
had
worry about it.
tomatoes everywhere. But this year I didn't have tomatoes everywhere. I had peppers. I had peppers everywhere.
Oh, okay. So, also a hardy seed. Some of those hardier seeds, if they don't get up to temperature, then they can become an issue. Right? Their seeds are hardy for a reason. They want to grow. They want to spread.
And speaking of seeds, where do you get your seeds from?
So I've gone through, in the beginning, I got my seeds from like Walmart, it was just, I'd go into a place, they had seeds. Okay. I like carrots. I like this. I like that. Learning a little bit now. I have neighbors who are growing local vegetables, heirloom vegetables that are more popular here. So I've become a little bit more selective of the seeds that I'm growing. But as long as you're going out and you're getting a seed from, a business or a person I don't want to discourage anyone from where they get their seeds. They don't need to be heirloom. They don't need to be special. They, go out and get the seeds you love. The local hardware store, the big box hardware store, wherever it is you got to go for your budget, how it works for you. You do that, you garden. It's more important to me that you're growing something than you're worried about, the source of seed. But now that I've been growing in this community and getting to know people, I've been very fortunate to get those heirloom varieties and learn about, a native tomato plant that's not being grown as much, that needs to become popular again, and kind of traveling down that path with my seeds. And I seed save everything I grow. And in that garage, I've got a rack of you name it. If I've grown it, I'm saving the seeds for it so I can grow it again.
That's what's up, folks. The new folks out there, the newbies out there, April, seed save once you start growing your own food.
Oh, yeah.
Plus the food that you buy. If you buy some great food out there that's organic, you can also save those seeds as well. And don't be scared to save those seeds. All right, folks. How do you decide what you want to grow? Is it based on family needs or what you like, what your daughter likes, what your wife likes? How do you decide what you're going to grow?
So, Kamani, and you tell me, I want to know this question for you as well. In the beginning, right, I grew what I thought looked good. It was like, oh, these peppers look so pretty, like, oh, that went out the door very, very quickly, right? Oh gosh, I'm trying to think of the damn plant and I can't think of it right now, but I had a ton of something that I didn't need. And I went, oh, this is terribly wasteful. And I had to pawn it off on every single neighbor in a house around me to get rid of it. And I went, I'm never doing that again. So now I grow not only what we like in the garden, but what I think we will eat on a regular basis. So broccoli is something you'll find here. I have quite a few roots of asparagus because asparagus, I can't keep it on the plate fast enough. As soon as I bring it inside, it's eaten, it's gone. Carrots are something that I grow because I love juicing carrots and making carrots. And then my family loves eating the carrots and dinner and stuff like that. I have a West Indian background, so in every stew chicken dish, there's some chopped up carrots going in there, and it's happening. So there's the same for the onions and the garlic. I mean, again, with a West Indian background, garlic and onions, just you never, not have a need for them. So the garlic is something where every single bulb I grow is eaten, and there's a great feeling in that. It creates this amazing cycle. So that's how I choose. How do you choose?
First I want to speak on the garlic. The garlic is great. This was my first year that I've been successful because I was doing it wrong, and so I got it now, and so I'm really
Okay.
excited about that.
Yeah.
And I also made some black garlic. So you take the regular garlic and you put it in a jar and you put vinegar and you ferment it for about a good 90 days, and then you dry it
Uh-huh.
out, and then you make some black garlic seasoning.
Ooh, you okay? Okay.
But
I could try that.
to answer my question that I asked you
Yes.
was when I first got started, I didn't want to do gardening. I hated being outside. I hated gardening, anything to do with gardening. And my mom was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, you at this breast state, you need to start a garden. So I basically went off what I liked, which was
Okay.
strawberries and chives.
Okay.
And tell you, believe it or not, 12 years later, those same strawberries are still growing in my yard, and those chives are still
Absolutely.
growing in my yard. But
Absolutely.
I got into doing that depressed stage of my life. I did get in a
Mm-hmm.
dark place where I was becoming unhealthy. So I actually blew up. I'm a little small guy. I'm about 5'8", about
Uh-huh.
155. And I
Oh,
went from
I wish.
155 to about 185
Oh, okay.
maybe. So I look like a
Okay.
blimp. I always say I look like a blimp.
Oh.
So I went to the doctor
Oh.
because I was like, something's not right. Let me go to
Mm-hmm.
this doctor. So I went to the doctor. High blood pressure, diabetes, blah blah blah. This is what you're
Oh
gonna have. This is
boy.
what you're gonna have. And I was like, no, 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 no. I can't. But that was part of my depression. I was just eating junk food
Yeah.
and junk food and junk food. So I said, give
Junk food.
me 3 months and I'll come back and then we'll assess whether I'm gonna be on some medication or not.
Mm-hmm.
So I went home and I said I'm going to be a raw food person. I'm going to do raw food, and I was growing a
Okay.
garden at the time, which it was only strawberries
And
and
chives.
chives, and they was just coming up because it was like almost early spring. So I started thinking
Okay.
about if I'm going to be a raw food person, I need to eat raw food. So why not grow some stuff? So I kind of just like went to the store, the big box store, and just grabbed a
Okay.
bunch of seeds, like eggplant,
Okay.
different things I didn't eat. I didn't eat peppers at one point in time. And
Okay.
so I grabbed a bunch of seeds and I started growing. And from there, I became a raw foodie. I went back to the doctor 3 months later after eating the cucumbers, the peppers, the eggplant. Raw eggplant at that time was disgusting.
Ooh.
Um, and I went back
Spongy.
to the doctor and I went from 185 down to 135. And the doctor was like, I said
Whoa.
lose some weight, but not a lot of weight. And that was my first
Wow.
initial time when that my doctor was like, you need to come talk to these people because it's really not about the food people eat, it's the way they eat it, is the choices, and they could be healthy. So early on, I believe that was like 2010 maybe, I actually talked to people who had hypertension and diabetes, and I changed their life. And so that's another mission of mine that
There you
finally came
go.
together full circle now that I want to teach. I guess that's why I want to teach people how to grow their own food. But I got to the point now where I did do a lot of waste, as you said, because I was growing things that I really didn't like. And so
Mm-hmm.
now I particularly only grow what I like. And then
What
I'll
you
do
like?
something out of the norm just to see if I can
Okay.
grow it and
Yeah, we've
how
got to
it
keep.
might be or how it might taste. This year I grew bitter melons. You said you was from the West Indies, so I'm sure you know about
Mm-hmm.
bitter
Mm-hmm.
melons, in those soups. So I grew those and I actually like it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, good.
Yeah. So sometimes I experiment with different things like eggplant. Like I said, I never ate eggplant before, but I was reading up it would be good for the crisis that I was going through, but I was eating it raw at the time and it was very
Oof,
disgusting. But
brave.
I changed it now and I love eggplant. I do eggplant bacon, eggplant fries, um meatballs. I do it all with
All right,
eggplant.
good stuff.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I got into deciding. Like I said, I mostly do stuff like what I like. Like even like with tomatoes, I don't really like tomatoes. Like
I'm right there with you. Don't
yeah,
leave me, garden fam. Right? But although I have to tell you, start looking at different tomato varieties because I've had some of the darker, hardier tomatoes that are less seedy. Um, they're a drier flesh, and I tend to like those more than like a big juicy beefsteak tomato doesn't do it for me. But that fleshier fruit, there's something about the consistency of the more solid fleshy tomato that I enjoy. So there's don't give up on them, but I
no,
hear
I
you.
haven't given up on it. It was
Yeah,
just like my initial um reaction to tomatoes I didn't really like, but
yeah,
I liked the way they looked in the yard because they were grown and I wanted to show off to people like I mastered this garden stuff. Look at these tomatoes, but I
yeah.
didn't really eat the tomatoes. I would just give them away.
Yeah, there you go.
But I did grow black tomatoes this year and I really like those. And I also
Okay.
like these little yellow, they're like pearls, yellow pearl tomatoes.
Okay. Yes, yes, yes,
Like
yes.
a cherry tomato, but they were yellow. But I do
Uh-huh.
can now. So I do make my own pasta sauce and like
Really?
marinara sauce, which I kind of
I
like.
I'm so you're canning, you're doing the sterilizing and everything. Have you found that difficult? Because I want to, but I'm nervous I'm going to screw it up and then I'm going to end up with a bunch of moldy, stuff at the end and I'm terrified of that.
That's what I thought at first too, but it was really easy. When I first
Really?
started, I found this canning magazine that was at the bookstore, and I
Uh-huh.
followed the directions exactly like it is. And
Okay.
now I can tweak it a little bit, but a lot of it is based around lemon juice and salt. So
Oh,
if you don't want to use a lot of salt, you can use more lemon juice.
lemon juice.
Yeah, and those
Okay.
lemon juice prevent it from doing the mold and the spoiling and the poisoning and all that good stuff. It's not really
Yeah.
about the glass jar. I think a lot of people was focused on the glass jar, making sure it's
Yeah.
sterilized, but it's really
Yeah.
like that salt and that vinegar or that lemon juice that you
Ah.
put in it to keep it
Okay.
from molding.
I hope you talk more about that. Teach me how to can. I want to do this.
So I actually revamped my kitchen during the COVID. When COVID
Mm-hmm.
first hit, I did revamp my kitchen space to have more shelving to do more canning. So I have
Okay.
a bunch of peach trees and fruit trees. So I do a lot of the
Aw.
preserves and stuff now. When I first
Mm-hmm.
got into it, so I had a lot of peppers. Like I said, I didn't eat a lot of peppers at one point. So I made these jalapeno jellies.
Oh,
It was
okay.
disgusting to me. But I
Ah.
took him to the farmer's market because I was in a class how to do food safety,
Uh-huh.
to get a certificate in food safety. And so I took
Okay.
those jalapeno jellies to the farmer's market in the Spanish community, and those things flew off
Ate
the
it up.
shelf. And so I was like, maybe I missed something. They kept, when you gonna have more? When you gonna have more? So I ended up making more and more and more. And so I was
Oh,
like,
look
maybe
at
I missed
that.
something. Let me go back and see if I really like it. And I still didn't like it. I ended up making some like hot dogs or whatever. You know how they have like the relish. So I kind of made it
Yeah.
more like a relish this time. but I
Okay.
still made it like a preserve or whatever, and then I end up liking that. So yeah,
Oh, okay.
I can everything now. With oils with my herbs, I infuse a lot of oils
Ooh.
with like basil and rosemary and thyme and all of that good stuff. I do whole tomatoes now,
Okay.
and preserve those for chilies, soups and stuff like that. Butternut squash, I do soups with
Oh.
that and preserve it. Pumpkins, I preserve the pumpkin
Oh
so
my
to make.
God! Look at you. You are knocking it out of the park.
Yeah. So yeah, and then I'm also into like taking like the collard greens and the kale, and then putting in little bags where you take the freeze dries bags, then you take
Uh-huh.
out the air. So I'll do a lot of that stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
So we eat primary. I grow about 40% of my own food here, and then my family
Oh, wonderful.
we eat off that the whole entire year. So yeah, that's what's up. I can teach you some canning tricks.
Yes, that
But
is
yeah,
what's up.
don't get into being scared of the mold because you're not gonna get
Okay.
the mold if you
Do
do
it
it right.
right.
Now you do want to clean the jars and get some fresh jars, but it's really about that preserve that you put in there. Like I said, the salt, the vinegar, or the lemon
Okay.
juice. I
The
tend
lemon.
to lean more towards the lemon juice because
Mm-hmm.
the high sodium.
Yes.
But yeah, when I make a pickle though, I do gotta have some salt. I do gotta have some vinegar in it. I just made some Carolina Reaper pickles. I'm actually
Oof.
scared to eat them, but we'll see.
I
Folks,
I
if you
try
don't
to
know,
avoid the
Carolina Reaper
spicy
is one of the
myself.
hottest peppers in the world.
Oh.
Um,
Oh.
and I'm sure you know about hot peppers. You West Indies, when you got a
Oh,
West Indies
listen.
background.
I am the person who grows the Scotch bonnets and the Trinidadian scorpion peppers. But when I say a thin shaving makes it into a dish, I mean a thin shaving. That's as
So
much as I can handle.
what I did with that was I actually dehydrate the peppers and then I grind them down to a flake. So when you need that
Okay.
little slither or that little sprinkle, you just get a little bit with gloves
Okay.
on. I advise
Pin.
people to put
Yes.
gloves on and then do a little
Yes.
sprinkle.
All
You want to
right.
hear
I'll.
my touching the peppers without gloves story?
Oh boy. Let me guess. Right in the eye.
Not in the eyes, somewhere else on your body. So I won't really get into it, but definitely put your gloves on because I picked some Carolina Reaper peppers before,
Oh.
and I didn't wash my hands afterwards. I touched a certain part of my body, end up at
Oh.
the emergency room, and was
No.
described. Well, first they said I had an STD, um,
You had a
but was
burning. You had a
prescribed
burning.
powdered milk. So I had to fill up the bathtub
Oh my
and put
gosh.
powdered milk in it and then sit in it. So make sure you're using gloves on folks when you picking those very, very
Oh
spicy
boy.
peppers. And you can
Oh,
it's
that's.
crazy like with the Scott bonnets and the Trinidadian
Hmm.
peppers and the Carolina you can actually smell it like in your
Yeah.
yard because that smell you know it's hot.
Yeah. Yeah. You know. You know. You know.
I know now.
Oh man.
I know now.
Oh man.
So,
That's too funny.
what is the hardest plant you ever tried to grow?
Oh, the hardest plant I've ever tried to grow. Um, so I'm going to say the hardest plant I've ever tried to grow is grass. I have, I'm here in Long Island, home of the lawn, right? There are lawn battles going on around me. And, grass itself it's a difficult plant to master and to grow. It is complicated. It is more complicated when you try to go organic, and it comes with all of these difficult challenges. And then there are people that just they go no grass, get rid of all the grass, make it all raised beds. You have people who go no, if it's your social space, your living space. There's so much complication around grass and the lawn, but I have probably it's taken me half of the last decade to learn how to grow a green, lush lawn with all of the trimmings and the ins and the outs and the ups and the downs, coming out and looking at the grass and going, this is too moist, the fungus is too high, it needs to dry out, I need to cut higher, I need to cut lower. All of these things came with years of trial and error. So that's what I'm going with as my most difficult plant is the lawn. And it's probably the thing that after the initial composting questions I get is the next question I get the most is, Andre, how do I fix my grass? So I do know it's a cared for subject matter, and it is my most challenging growth.
That's what's up, folks. He know how to grow grass, and so around this time I usually do. Well, eventually when I get my whole setup here in the basement, is gonna I'm gonna have a black table because it's Black Gardener Talk, right? So
Okay.
it's always, every week is gonna be the Black Gardener Black Table question of the week or whatever. And so
Okay.
my Black Table question of the week this week for you: raised garden beds, containers, or in ground? Which one is the best?
Raised garden beds, containers, or in ground? Which one is the best? I am going to go with the raised garden bed. I'm picking the raised garden bed, and I'm going to try to think of every pro I can. I'm looking at a raised garden bed right now, and I like the fact that it dries faster, so I don't have to worry as much about overwatering. It's easier to deal with, right, because it's raised, so I can either use my stool or something to sit in front of it. I'm not necessarily on my knees on the ground. It's accessible, right? I can bring my grandmother back here. She can reach into it without, even if things are hurting. It's pretty to look at, right? It's kind of like a showpiece in your garden. It's manageable. I feel like you can really do a display. I know I have some raised beds on the other side of the house that people can see, so I always grow something that hangs over the side and flowers. Even if inside is just all vegetables, you can dress up a raised garden bed. It's a manageable space, right? You have a limited space. You know what it is, so you're not overwhelmed about thinking, oh, if I plant this, will it run? Will it this? Will it? You can manage that space, and I think that brings people in, and it makes it welcoming. Raised garden bed, team raised garden bed. I'm going team raised garden bed.
I think a lot of people in the comments said raised garden beds as well. I would say yes as well. I did first start out with in ground.
In ground, yes.
And I put those strawberries in the ground, and
the
strawberries took over the ground.
Yes.
So now I'm 2 raised garden beds, so I can get those strawberries out of the ground. Those are actually in barrels now. Those big Jack Daniel half a barrels, because they really took over the yard. What is your favorite vegetable to grow? I forgot to ask you that question when we was talking about.
Well, you mentioned it, and I love butternut squash. It is one of these guilty pleasures I have. It starts getting cold here, and there's something about, I sprinkle a little cinnamon on them, and I roast them in the oven, and, the smell in the house when you open the oven, there's something about it, and, then I go ahead and I put it in the pot, and I start cooking them, and, I add a little bit of heavy cream right before I eat them, and for me, it is such a soul-warming soup. I sit there with my butternut squash soup. The way it sticks to the inside of your mouth, it's this warm, embracing, fantastic food experience. If you're not a butternut squash eater or you've never tried it, can I suggest go to someone who knows, how to make a very good butternut squash soup. There are a million different recipes. You can leave out the dairy if you don't want the dairy. There's oat sup. There's all sorts of stuff you can do. But it's a rich, creamy, and it can be so super simple. You don't need to throw a lot of stuff in your butternut squash soup to make it good. Um, it's my favorite. It's my favorite. Now it grows when I plant it. It grows right over the fence, and also takes over part of my neighbor's yard. But thankfully, they are loving, kind, and wonderful people, and they enjoy the butternut squash too. And we're allowed to share that space because it can be a pretty big plant. So just, I don't want to give anyone poor advice. Know that it can be it's like a watermelon, how watermelon can
Oh,
run
yeah.
and can kind of take over a space. Just be aware that butternut squash can do the same. But it is my, people talk about the pumpkin spice season when it comes in. For me, I'm waiting for the butternut squash season. That's my go-to.
That is what's up. I love butternut squash as well. I like mine spicy, so I like to
Ooh,
roast it and then
I'm
put
down.
the Carolina Reaper in it, and then make it really spicy.
I didn't.
So one of the
I'm not going
greatest
anywhere
things
near.
one of the greatest things that I purchased during the pandemic was the
Mhm.
Vitamix. And I'm working with Vitamix now, but Vitamix has one of the top line one actually makes a soup. So I just go in and we roast the butternut squash here.
And you
I
can do it in the Vitamix.
hmm
Oh,
And then they have
that's
the soup button. You put everything in there. You put it on the soup setting.
uh-huh.
It goes in for about 6 minutes. You can have a great soup in 6 minutes. You open it up,
How
it's
does it heat it?
steaming.
It has a heating element?
Yeah, he's that's the top of
Ah,
the line one. If
okay.
anybody interested, you can DM me and I can get you a discount on it. Um,
Oh, okay. Okay.
but yeah, I love the Vitamix. But yeah, it can make a soup in 6 minutes through that setting, and then you can do self cleaning with it. You put a little detergent in it, water, hit that
And then
self
boom.
cleaning button, and voila,
Okay.
it's done.
Fancy pants. I'm in there with my mashed potato mixer thing, and I'm whipping but I won't lie to you. I do enjoy the process, as we talked about with gardening, right? That patience, that it's the process is also a part for me. So yeah, no, that is awesome. You taught me something new. I didn't. Stuff is getting so fancy nowadays.
Yeah,
You make
so
soup
and
and
they
you
have a
blend it.
composter too, which is crazy. You throw everything in the little composting thing, and it makes about like what a 2 pound compost process, like in 24
Oh,
hours or 48 hours, and then you can take that and go dump it outside or put it in your plants as well. Yeah.
wow. Okay.
If
Okay.
anybody want to see how I made the tomato soup with
Mhm.
the Vitamix, you can go on my profile and click on one of those reels, and it's up there. You can see the steam coming out of it when I open the top, and as I'm pouring it in the bowl, you can see the steam as well. I have one of those large pitchers, so I can make feed my family of four with just one of those large containers that I have.
Okay.
Um, so that's what's up. Um, so try Vitamix, y'all, if you can. If you don't want to do all that work, I'm one of those ones. I cook and clean at my house. No
I
one,
got
no
you.
one know how to cook, and no one likes to
Oh,
clean. So I try to make it easy as possible here at my house. I got a few more questions before we get out of here. I don't want to keep you over an hour.
listen, we can talk until the day is young. It's a beautiful day.
Okay, cool. Also, Allison Crockett, I had on Thursday. She was a butternut squash queen too. She loved butternut squash.
Okay.
So
Go butternut squash.
yeah, I think she was saying she liked it with a little bit of cinnamon, and like I like it very sometimes. I like it sweet and spicy, so a little
Okay.
cinnamon and a little heat to it.
There you go.
Um, um, do you have any favorite tricks or tips you picked up along the way since you've been gardening?
Take cuttings. Learn how to grow from cuttings. They speed up so much, and it creates um, it creates a great sense of community. I have a crepe myrtle, which is not as popular up here in New York as I've seen. My parents are retired in Atlanta, and they have crepe myrtles all over the place. Um, my neighbor is from Atlanta. They've moved up here to New York many, many years ago, and she has a crepe myrtle in front of her home that she loves and her husband takes care of. And they gave me a cutting probably about 3 or 4 years ago, and I cut that cutting down to 12 cuttings and grew them in a grow box inside of my home. And now from that, I have 2 mature trees that I've kept. I gave the rest away to friends and family and some other neighbors, and now I get to see those crepe myrtles growing when I go visit people. And it's just take cuttings. You can do cuttings of your mums. I know how popular those are in the fall. If you take cuttings of your mums and grow them in the greenhouse, you know, it's a great way to grow multiple. I probably have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I have 20 mums in eye shot of where I'm sitting right now. Cuttings, that's the way to go. It's going to save you money. It's going to save you time. And you know what to expect, right? If I do cuttings of the yellow mums in front of the house, I know I'm going to have 20 yellow mums, and even they sit in the greenhouse. You don't have to do anything to them except water them every now and then. And then come fall, I look like the best gardener in the block because I bring out my 20 yellow mums, and they're like, "Oh wow, look at this guy! He's ready." Take cuttings. It's going to save you a lot.
Someone commented on my outfit today, so I have my Black Power outfit on today. So I got my Panthers hat on, my turtleneck, Malcolm X glasses. I
Oh
did
boy.
have the leather jacket on, but I took it off. It was hot
Oh
in Texas.
boy.
But I'm actually making sure that I I come ready and prepared when I get on the camera.
All right.
There's a lot of eyes on me right now, so I want to come and be best representative of what I'm trying to do. So when those
Okay.
eyes do pop in and see what I'm doing, that's ka-ching can come. It's not all the way. It's not always about the money, but I do want to take this as to the next level and be a full-time master gardener and inspire people. So I gotta look the part, right? I gotta get the right microphone. I gotta do all that stuff. So that's why I got my
Absolutely.
outfit on today, my Panthers outfit on. And also, so the show is called Black Gardener Talk, aka Grow by Any Means Necessary. So I'm taking that
Mm-hmm.
any means by necessary from Malcolm X, but I'm taking it as like grow by any means necessary. So that's really what it's about. And today I wanted to just represent Black power today. We're Black, we're gonna be Black, we're gonna die Black. You know what I'm saying? But so
Listen,
that
I
leads me to
think.
my last question for you.
Okay.
Well, I have two. If you can stay on for
Okay.
a few minutes. I know you said you
Yes.
was
Yes.
from the
Yes.
West Indies.
Mm-hmm.
Did your mom or dad, I'm not sure which part of your family's from the West Indies, but did they bring any traditional seeds or any traditional knowledge to you when they came here? Or
So I am a first generation American. My mother is from Jamaica, West Indies. My father is from the divided country of Hispaniola. He is from Haiti, which is the origin story. Both of them coming here to the United States. Both of them working and learning. My mother in the hospitals for as long as I can remember. My father in law enforcement. They came here and they dealt with the conflicts of being immigrants moving into the United States, in both in their own aspects, right? My mother has told me about racism and its limits in the hospital. My father has absolutely told me about racism and law enforcement. I myself have followed suit with my father in law enforcement, and I deal with the conflicts of, socially oppressive laws and law enforcement practices every single day. Um, that's kind of how I was made, right? To the question of what did they bring with them, the answer is I feel like it's all around me. The garlic is from them. The collards I'm looking at over there is from them. they brought, I mean, physically, my grandmother brought sorrel, which is something I'm still struggling to grow. It's growing in the greenhouse right now. Was what she physically brought from Jamaica, West Indies, somehow got past customs and is here and growing in my greenhouse. But I think mentally, what they've brought, and this is probably a communal note. Um, I'm sorry, you made me emotional thinking about my grandmother and what she brought. They
It's a safe
brought
space here, so I mean, if you want to cry,
a
you need to cry.
a
Hey, this is what
thank
this is
you.
for.
Um, she brought a unique sensibility that we have to be prepared and ready for whatever happens. And when it comes to food and the garden, that means, she grew up in a situation where perhaps there was going to be a day where there wasn't anything, and the garden created a space where she got food security from. So my mother, following suit, my mother tends the garden now, um, in place of my grandmother. And again, I think it's still this idea, this very primal, basic idea of food for the family. And it is a skill you must have, because no matter what happens in this world, you have to be able to fulfill that basic need of feeding. Um, and they've instilled that in me. It's I can't imagine not growing something, because I feel like it would leave me, for the worse. It would leave me lacking something in my life. I know that food is probably more easily accessible than ever before for some, right? We have all of these apps and programs and drivers and all of this stuff, but my grandmother gave me the sense that, Andre, you should be able to go out, pick something up, bring it inside, do whatever you need to do it, and then put it on a plate and feed yourself and feed your family. And I I hold on to that dearly every day. I will pass that on to my daughter. I will pass that on to what other children I get to, um, and adults I get to. I think that it's a it has become a part of my life, and a value in my life is the ability to grow, garden, and feed.
That is just very emotional. You almost got me tearing up too, because
I'm
I
sorry.
mean, my mom is from another country, came over, brought some stuff, and my mom is gone on, passed on now. But I, um, like growing this food now for her. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure if she's looking down on me, she's probably like, "Big ups to you, and continue to do everything great." And thanks for being a little bit vulnerable too. You know what I'm saying? It's difficult sometimes, and I want people to know that when you come on here, or when you actually watching this show, this live, it is a safe space. You know what I'm saying? This is for us. And if it's people that don't look like us that happen to come in the room, hey, we welcome everyone. You know what I'm saying? But it is a safe space for us. Now, last and final question: what are your future plans for gardening?
Ooh. Um, so right now, as I'm nearing the end of my current work career, uh, I have already started volunteering at a local botanical garden and working in another garden space. Um, so what the future is bringing for me is a period of transition. I I'm a canine officer. I work with an explosive canine team. I've enjoyed that work dearly, but my passion, as we've discussed for the last hour, is in the garden space. It's in the green space. Um, I love everything about the garden space. I love sharing. I love the people that come to the garden. I love the the mental safe space that you just described, that you find in a garden, whether it's a botanical garden, a private garden, a backyard garden, whatever the case. Um, so I am transitioning from leaving my career and starting a new career that is in my passion, that is in gardening. Um,
Mhm.
and Next year will mark my 19th year at the job for me, which leaves one more to go. So I'm hoping that next year I get to do a little bit more with the garden space, a little bit more with the botanical garden. I get to spend some time with the guys at the New York City Compost Project. Uh, they've really inspired and changed my life, bringing composting in and composting education. Um, so that's really like a big go-to and a big goal of mine is making that transition whole, turning passion into career, and taking all the great things I've earned and gained and learned and loved from my old career and maybe bringing that into the new career of gardening as well. So hopefully a period of transition and a period of growth.
That's what's up. I'm gonna say cheers to you on that.
Cheers to the end of the tea, right? I'll finish my.
That is so great to know. I love to know what people's future plans are. Where can they follow you? Which social media platforms are you on?
So I'm here, and if you follow or if you don't follow, you should check out a great account buddy of mine, Brian. He's at the Garden Voyeur. It's one of my favorite gardening accounts. He has recently been making the transition, along with there's a ton. I wish I could name everyone right now, but into TikTok and this new viral platform that is growing and changing, and people are adapting to. And I have moved into TikTok. I am still Seaside Gardener over, Seaside Gardener, Long Island, New York, Liny. In TikTok, it's the same name transferred over. But those are the two platform spaces. I am in Twitter, but normally my Twitter account seems to just be a place where I get gardening questions. Again, same thing, Seaside Liny in Twitter. And then here, of course, in Instagram is where I consider home. It's where I've built the strongest bond to the community, and I interact with the community every day here. I'm also on Facebook at Seaside Garden Liny, but TikTok is the new venture. I have been having some fun with it. Last night, my 6-year-old and I made our first TikTok together. We were dancing in the living room, so it's fun, and I guess it's the new thing. So trying that out, and Brian was the one that kind of convinced me to edge into the waters and give it a try. So I'm giving it a try over there. Is TikTok.
And that's what's up. They also have another one called Fan Base that I'm a part of. And on
Uh-huh.
Monday, November 29th, I'm going to be working with Fan Base to present this book, The Coming Famine, and what we can do to
Okay.
stop it with Julian Cribbs. It's going to be on Fan Base, Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube all together. And Fan Base is
Okay.
a subscription-based social media platform where as soon as you log on and start uploading footage, you can get paid right off the break. Now,
Oh,
the
wow.
the pay part of it is with a lot of video content, more people liking your pages,
Uh-huh.
and giving you hearts, and then those folks can subscribe to your page, which costs a little, maybe $1 or so. And the more content you have, the more money you can make on it. And it's
Interesting.
got started by a Black man, Isaac Hayes the third. He's the
Okay.
son of Isaac Hayes, the singer that we all know and love. It's called
Oh,
Fan
okay.
Base. But I'll be sending all that information out to folks if they want to join the discussion. I'm reading it now, and then we're going to be like discussing it with the author. And the author is in Australia, and he has agreed to come on with me and go through the book with him, which is really
Wonderful.
cool. It's going to be November 29th, and where he's at is
Okay.
going to be November 30th. So that's going to be really interesting.
That's a
So
week
yeah,
away. That's
I'll be
coming right up.
posting the flyers and everything up. The
Okay.
book link is on my profile. You can click it if you want to buy the book and support him. But Andre, the Seaside Garden, it has been a blessing this morning to have you on. Happy birthday tomorrow.
Oh, thank you, Kamani. Thank you so much.
Everyone have a great Thanksgiving, because I'm going to be taking off. No Black Gardener Talk next week, but we're going to return on December 2nd with another young lady, gardener. She's gonna be on, and then I'm gonna have my friend. He's from Trinidad, but he lives in Florida now. He has a whole fruit garden down in Florida,
It's
Atiba,
growing an
and then I'm
orchard.
gonna
Good for
end
him.
with a big guy. His name is Ken the Farmer. He has a farm out in California called the Sparks
Okay.
Farm, and he's growing a whole crazy out there, and he's like a
Okay.
massive account here on Instagram, over like
Okay.
25,000 followers. He's always in the news. He's always in the press. He's going to be my season finale, and then we're going to come
Okay.
back in February. So if you
2022.
want to be
Okay.
on Black Gardener Talk, you got to send me an email. Don't DM me. It's info@gardenbeats.com, and we're going to see if we can make it happen. And then I'll have some money to make it even better. Then, because my folks are watching me. But yeah, I want to thank you, Andre. It's been a pleasure. You have a
Kamani,
wealth
it
of
has
knowledge.
also been a pleasure.
I
Thank
wish
you
you
so
all the
much for your
success
time.
when you leave your workspace and become a full-time gardener. And I know it's gonna be great. Go follow him, y'all. Follow this account if you're not following me. If you like,
That's
I
absolutely
don't.
right.
Yeah, if you like, but don't follow me and then unfollow me, okay? Because I'm gonna find out and I'm gonna unfollow you. But it's been a
Kamani, thank
pleasure,
you.
everyone. I'll always
The
leave with this
pleasure is
quote.
mine.
Oh, any parting words? Any parting words for the folks?
I want to say thank you for having me on. Thank you to all the wonderful people you've brought to the garden family. May gardening always bring you joy and always bring you happiness into your life.
Oh, that's what's up. So I'm gonna leave with this, y'all. On that note, live your life healthy and free from negativity. And as always, you gotta stay dope, y'all. All right, peace.